Hi everybody, my name's Jona and thanks for checking out this video. Today with me is Ambie and she is here and we're going to talk about our top 10 kid games of all time. So I was really excited to talk to you about your kid games because you have these adorable little boys that are always opening boxes and getting to that age where they're starting to game, and you've been a long time gamer. So it's just really exciting to see you in the kid stage. So
yeah, and I actually played kid games before because our friends had kids, and so like we had a shelf of children's games before we had kids. Now we have like 4 shelves of children's games.
Whoa, that's awesome.
They actually know 18XX.
No,
and they want to play that. They keep pulling them out because it's right next to my shelf of kids games.
I bet there's nice trains on those boxes.
Yeah. So one of my kids really loves trains. So
how old are your boys?
They're 2 years and 9 months old.
So my boys are 5 and 7. So my list is mostly for that age group, but I do have some mentions that are like some younger ones because I still love them. Like my 5-year-old still likes to play some of the smaller kid games. But I'm curious, like, is your list a variety of ages, or is it kind of narrow? Is it kind of based on your kids' ages?
Yeah, it's mostly the toddler age. I think I have a couple that are ones that I played with our friend's daughter, who was like 4 or 5 at the time. So and those have carried over. Like my kids haven't played those ones yet by the rules, but like most of them are ones that my kids have played by the rules.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's really great though, because now we're like covering all the, well, from 7 until like 2, we're covering like all the ages. I also was excited to talk to you because you are working on a book currently, and it is just like a tribute to kids games, right? Would you describe it that way?
Well, yeah. It's called Board Game Day. It's a rhyming children's book about board games, and then we're putting like a lot of different children's games in the illustration. So the illustrator is Rachel Kramer from Semi-Co-op, the webcomic. Yeah. She does really cute art. Look, I'll show you. Here, look, see, this is the book.
Oh my gosh, it's a board book.
Yeah, it's a board book. Because it's like, it's a short book, short rhymes and stuff. But we don't have all of the games in there yet. But like here, there's a couple of kids games.
Is that Animal Upon Animal?
Yeah, Animal Upon Animal.
That's really cute.
And so we have a couple of the games in there, and my kids like recognize some of them.
Yeah. So, what inspired you to come up with a book?
So I make a lot of song parodies, and then I started making original songs after my kids were born, because before I wasn't comfortable with my like original song tune making abilities, but I started just singing random stuff to them all the time. Aww. And some of the tunes I made up sounded kind of good. I'm like, oh, maybe I can make an original song. So I made some of those for children's games. And then I like making up rhymes and stuff, so I made up a rhyme for them about Board Game Day, and I was like, oh, I should make this into a book for them. And then I decided to make it like actually illustrated. Yeah. And I was like, I can't illustrate it myself. So then I hired Rachel, and like it looks really good. And so I was like, oh, other people might want it too.
Yeah.
So, and also, like I wanted a board book, and you have to print, like you can't just print one off. This is a special, like not actually for kids because it's like digitally printed. And
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so like to do board books, you have to do offset printing and do it in mass quantities. So I don't need that many board books of the same book. So hopefully other people want it too.
Yeah, there's so many gamers out there that, you know, they're at that stage where they either have little ones or they have nieces and nephews, and they want to, you know, kind of like influence them to be excited about board games. And what better thing to do than to read to them about it. And I mean, that would be a perfect baby shower gift too for anyone that's interested in board games. So I think it's a really cute idea. So I hope it does really well. When is your Kickstarter going to be going?
It's launching July 18th.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I can leave a link in the description box. And then people can just go check that out when that's coming out. But right now we're going to get into our top 10 favorite board games for kids. And would you like to start us off, Ambie?
Sure. Okay.
Oh, first of all, do you have any honorable mentions? Because I had a really hard time making my list.
Yeah, I do have honorable mentions. It's kind of like a group of honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Just go through all of them.
So basically, I was just going to give honorable mentions to like dexterity games that aren't necessarily for children. But I have Clask, which is like not really a children's game. And my kids really like playing with it. Like one of my kids really likes the magnets. It's kind of dangerous, but so you have to like supervise closely. But he really likes playing with it, and he can move around. It's like an air hockey game if you're not familiar with Clask. But, like with magnets, but he moves around and hits the ball into his own goal. but he really likes playing with it. And Click Clack Lumberjack also. That one's kind of a kid's game, but like I have only played it with adults. So, but yeah, that one, it has an axe and like building up a trunk, and you're hitting down the pieces.
That's right. I've seen that. Yeah.
And they like putting the trunk together and then like stacking it up and then just knocking it over. So.
Well, a couple of my honorable mentions were just ones that had a little bit more, were either too young that we're not really playing them quite as much these days, but I still loved, like Color It. That's a game where you're rolling dice and filling out like a little coloring sheet, and it's great for like 3 and 4 year olds because they're identifying numbers and colors and figuring out this little puzzle, but it is more of an activity than a competitive game. But I always love doing that with my kids. And even today, I had it out. Wait, I have it right here, actually. And my son grabbed it and started taking it. I was like, can we play this? I'm like, not right now, but I'm glad you're so interested in it. So this is a really, really good one. And then some of the and then some of the other ones were like ones where they're a little too there's too much writing in, so it's more involved to play with them. You have to assist them more than some of these other games, which are just really easy to play with them because they're not language dependent. And that's a Memoir 44 because my son is really interested in like soldiers and World War II and all that stuff. And then what is it? Emergency Broadcasting, which is a newer game where it's tile placement, but you have these goals where there's a lot of reading in. So those are really great games, but they're also like kind of geared towards a little bit older children and just didn't quite make the list. But I still wanted to mention them. And Rhino Hero, because it's just cute. But it's very tricky.
Yeah, that is.
So, all right. So then let's get into our actual list.
Okay, so my number 10 is the one game on my list that I don't own, and my kids haven't played it yet, but I played it with my friend's kid, and that's Hoot Owl Hoot. It's from Peaceable Kingdom, I think, but it's a cooperative game, and you're moving along these tracks, like based on color. So like you get a color, and then like you go to, you pick one of 4 or 5 pieces to move to the nearest of that color, and you're trying to get like all of the little owl pieces, those are your pieces, into the nest before the sun comes up, I think. So like there's some strategy in choosing which piece to move, because like the pieces, it's going to go to the next space of that color, and so sometimes it's like the next space, or sometimes it's like 5 spaces away, and depending on which piece you pick, it could move farther or not. So they learn some strategy from picking which piece to go, and then there's color matching and stuff. So that's a fun game. I'm planning on getting it at some point, but I think when my kids are a little older.
Yeah. That sounds really cute. I have never played that one, but I've seen it online. I was curious about it, so that's a great recommendation. So my number 10 is an older game called Cartagena. My husband's gonna hate watching this video because I'm tipping all the boxes the wrong way. Pieces are going to be everywhere, but that's okay. This is I always describe it as Candyland, but better, because there's more strategy involved. But basically there's a trail that you make out of these little like tile cards, and there's a boat at the end, and all the pirates are at the other end, and they have to try to get to all their pirates. I think it's like 5 or 6 of them into the boat first so that they can get away. And to move down the track, you have to play these little symbol cards, and they're like little, there's a lantern, a revolver, a flask, just things that pirates would have. And you play that, and then you get to go to that symbol. And if there's a pirate on the symbol, then you skip ahead to the next matching symbol, and that's how you kind of go. And then if you run out of cards, you have to go back a space. And if you go back to a space where there's another pirate, you get 2 cards. So there's a lot of this like turn consideration, like where am I? Where are my pirates? How am I going to get them to advance? And so there's a lot to think about, but it's really simple, and it's easy for kids to just, at many different ages, play along because they're just matching those symbols. So cool. And that's one of the first games we played with them.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so my number 9 is Nibble Munch Crunch, which is a lot of mine are like toddler games, which aren't going to be like competitive games. They're all like
that's okay. I mean, they're still really fun, yeah. And it's good to know like what's involved in them.
Yeah. So in this one, you're matching up animal or food to feed to animals. So there's 5 different animals and the 5 different foods. So like the fish goes to the cat, the dog eats to the bone, and then the colors too. So you're matching up the food shapes. I can just open it and show you.
Show us the components.
Yeah. So like there's going to be the dog, and then so you get the animal card, and then you're like, oh, the dog eats the bone, and you put the bone in here.
That is so cute.
And then the bone is brown, so you put this under it, and then you match it up, and then the dog's happy. And you do that for all the animals, and then that's it.
Okay. So it's just to get kids to be matching colors and
matching
animals,
colors.
Like
the hard part is matching what the animals eat. my kids are like, oh, the turtle eats cheese. I'm like, well, yeah, sure, I guess it could, but I think the cheese is for the mouse.
They'll learn.
Yeah. But this was actually the first game my kids bought that we bought for my kids at a gaming store. Like we went to our local game store for the first time with them, and this was there, and we hadn't had it yet because I had made like a big game order of Haba games before online, but this was the first like in-person purchase.
In the store.
Yeah.
Makes it
yeah, and
memorable.
like one of my kids like grabbed it and started walking out the door. I'm like, wait, we have to pay for it. Yeah, so they like got to open it, and so they had that experience, and then they liked playing with it a lot.
Oh, great. That looks really cute. Okay, so my number 9 is also a Haba game, and this is Critter Cruise. And this is like a Noah's Ark themed game where there's actually the box becomes the ark. Maybe I'll just
oh, cool. Yeah, these are cool. You just want to see it.
I know. I might just show a picture. Well, actually, it's really easy to set up here. So there's the ark. And then all the animals are like down in there. And what you're trying to do is get all the animals and their suitcases that match the animal shape and color back into Noah's Ark before the water floods. And it's a memory game, so all the suitcases are on the carpet or floor, wherever you're playing, and they're upside down. And when you're at an animal's space, the animals have like a little trail that they each have a little spot, and they're all in line waiting to go on. And when Noah is at a specific animal, if it's at like the blue elephant, then that's what you have to find on that turn, and you're trying to find that piece. And if you get the match, they go on. If not, you have to put it back, but then the next person can try and find that animal. And if you accidentally flip over a suitcase that has raindrops on it, then the little spaces the animals are standing on flip over and become flooded. And if it all becomes flooded before the end of the game, then you lose.
Oh, no.
And if you get them all on the boat, everyone wins. So it's a cooperative game. It's memory. It's color matching and animal matching, and it's so adorable. I don't know why this evokes so much play for my kids. And because they're like proportional in size, they just play with it and I don't know, pretend, and it's just a great game. We had so many fun times playing this, and we still play it a lot. This is for 3 years old and up, but I mean, my 5-year-old still loves it, and my 7-year-old still plays with it too. So it's a great one.
Yeah, I think I saw that one at our game store, and I was tempted to get it,
It's
but
really cute.
maybe soon.
Yeah.
They're not that great at memory game yet.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 8 is Teddy's Colors and Shapes. So this is a really simple game. It's basically like a puzzle. But basically there's 4 boards that are double-sided, and you either do color or shape. So like if you do the color mode, it's this. There's colors around these shapes, and then shape is just no colors. And then there's a bunch of the wooden pieces that are different colors and shapes. And you roll a die, and then match the color or shape that you roll. So like I would have to put, if I rolled yellow, then I could put this yellow flower in somewhere, and then I find the matching place to put it in. And like, okay, it goes in here. Whoops. Okay. It goes here.
Yeah.
I didn't expect much from this game.
Yeah.
And like they were just playing with putting the shapes in like a puzzle early on and without the die. But then recently, after they had played other games, so I thought like, oh, maybe they've outgrown this one. But then like they played this one. I asked one of them if he wanted to play, and he played it with me. And then he played it like 6 times in a row, and he kept wanting to play more. I was like, whoa,
that's awesome.
And it, like after I showed him how to play with the rules and stuff, and then he was playing it, and I was like, wow. Yeah, and then he liked playing with me, like taking turns too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's cool, yeah.
Oh, okay. So my next one is a really old one, and it was under the couch because we haven't played it for a while. But this is a favorite of my boys, and this is Stratego. And I'm realizing that this is all backwards, but hopefully you can still see it. And by the way, I think this is one of the best game covers of all time because it shows the game and the pieces, and this guy is so great. So this was a yard sale find, and it was a game my husband always played. I never played it as a kid, but it couldn't be simpler. You have the red guys playing the blue guys, and each piece, most of them are soldiers, but there's a spy, and there's like a captain. And have you played this game?
Yeah, I played it as a kid. Yeah.
So basically, the different characters, the different ranking officers have numbers, and then you go up to another person's piece, and you turn them at the same time, and whoever has the highest number wins. And basically, they knock the other player's piece out, and whoever finds the flag first wins. It's like capture the flag, basically, on a board game. But this has been played so much in my house. It's so simple and so fun. Like, I mean, classics are classics for a reason, so yeah.
Yeah. And you get to hide the flag yourself. Like, you set up your own pieces at the beginning.
That's right. You set up everything, and you hide the flag, and you figure out where do I want my spy, where do I want my bombs. Yeah. So there's strategy too.
Yeah. But, and some like poker face.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't very good at. Sometimes I would try like hiding the flag out in the front to try to be tricky, and that didn't work very well.
I know. My son often, like, they just put everything in one spot. So as soon as like a bomb hits, you're like, oh, I know exactly where the flag is.
I think I used to do that as a kid too.
That's good. It's a good way to learn strategy and how to outthink your opponent.
Yep.
So, and it's great because you can still find them at yard sales and Goodwills, and it's just a great way to keep those good games in rotation.
So my number 7 is First Orchard.
I was hoping this would be on your list.
Yeah, so this is a really popular game for toddlers. My kids actually don't play it as much as some of the other games, so it might be a little bit too much for them right now because they get it takes a little bit longer than some of the other games. But in First Orchard, there's these really cool chunky fruit. There's 4 different colors of fruit, and you're and this raven, and you're trying to collect all the fruit into a basket before the raven reaches the orchard. So you roll a die, and it gets a color or the wild, and you put the fruit in the basket, and if it hits the raven, then it moves up a space. So yeah, my kids really like playing with the chunky fruit.
Yeah, they're great toys.
Yeah, they're really good toys. A lot of these games are like really good toys. Yeah. And like in the rule book too, it says like free play is the first mode of play. So that's cool. I was a big fan of that. I didn't put it on my list because it is for younger games. Like it says it's for 2 years 2
old
plus,
and up. Yeah. And I actually think that's reaching a little bit because my kids didn't play it more competitively or like really get the strategy until like 3 years old. And as simple as it is, there is a little bit of strategy. So it's really
so my
good.
kids just recently were able to play like a full game by the rules.
Okay.
And so I think 3 is probably
they'll definitely grow into it, I think.
Yeah, they'll grow into it. Yeah.
Okay, so my next one is another old one, and this was also another Goodwill find, which I was thrilled. I actually found a good board game at Goodwill, and this is Carcassonne, and it's just a tile placement game, and you're laying these pieces out and you can like claim a city piece on your tile, and then once you complete an entire city with other tiles being placed, you get points for that. You can also build roads and I think it's called monasteries. There's like a monastery you can put out, but then before you get to score it, you have to surround it with other tile pieces. The tiles look like this. So here's like part of a city. Whenever you place a tile, you're the only person that can claim something on that tile. So you're basically just picking one, figuring out where you want to place it, and the rule is that if you're putting it out, like if this is what's already out, I have to put my tile so it continues the picture that's already there. So I couldn't do that because then it would be breaking the road up. So the rules are really simple. The scoring is fun, and it's we've been playing it quite a lot this summer.
Cool.
So that's Carcassonne.
My number 6 is Here Fishy Fishy. So this is a fishing game. So this one, the box is the ocean floor. Like there's these fish and you keep them in the box here and this fishing pole, and you're trying to like get the colored fish that you roll.
They're little magnets?
Yeah, it's a magnetic fishing game. So like obviously that's fun to play with.
Yeah.
But then there's also like your scoring thing is this puzzle board, and you put the color fish that you get, you like put it into the shape like that, and you want to fill up your whole board.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, like one of my kids really likes puzzles, so he was playing with it. He would play this game and just take all of the scoring boards and put the puzzles together, and my other one would be playing with the fish.
That's great. That is so cool.
Yeah, but they also like now they can play by the rules, and they roll the die and like go for the fish. Except for like sometimes they roll the die, they want to get like one of my kids likes yellow, so he just like puts it on the yellow. He's like yellow. I'm like, you want to try to get the different colors.
Yellow's my favorite color too, buddy.
But yeah, like magnets are fun.
Yeah, that's so
I
cute.
mentioned magnets before with Clask, but they like that.
That looks adorable. I'm kind of sad, like I don't have any little ones to get these cute games for anymore. The next one on my list for this is number 6, I guess. This is Cloaked Cats, and this is a deduction game. Everyone has these like little fans that hold their cards, and they're gonna have 3 identifying cards that explain like what sort of cat you are going to this masquerade party. So you might be like a cat that's sitting in this pose that is red and has a top hat, and that's your secret identity. And so on your turn, on a person's turn, they're going to put out these cat cards, which has a combination of all those characteristics. Like you can see on this is a player aid, and there's 5 different positions that cats can be in, and 8 different colors they could possibly be. Some of them are spotted and striped here, and then there's these different props that they might have with them at the party. So on your turn, you lay these like cat cards out on the table, and then everyone, if you have a characteristic, like for example I have the top hat, so then I would have to put one of my color markers on the card so that everyone at the table knows, oh, there's something about that cat that's like Jona's cat. So eventually you'll start to see the whole table fill up with all of these different cards. There's like a whole bunch of different ones here, different cat cards, and you'll be able to see, okay, Jona's cats all have top hats. Whenever a top cat comes out, Jona always puts her marker out, so her cat must have a top cat, and then someone can guess, does your cat have a top cat? If they guess wrong, then you get one of their fan or one of their player markers. If they guess right, they get one of yours, and whoever has the most player markers at the end, including other people's colors, wins.
Oh, okay.
So it's a really simple deduction. Deduction always stumped me in general. So like explaining this, I'm like, I hope this makes sense. But it really simplifies it. It's all very visual. It's like language independent, and it's a great way to introduce children to like, okay, I'm seeing clues, I'm seeing patterns. I can figure out what your cat is. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so that's Cloak Cats.
Yeah, I think that one's on my wanna play list because I really like deduction, and then I've seen a lot of like children's deduction games coming out in the last few years. So
I played this with my mom and sisters, and they loved it. And they're like full-on adults and stuff. So it's a good deduction game, and it's very geared for kids and very doable for them too. So
yay.
Yeah.
So, speaking of deduction games for kids, my number 5 is Outfox, which is not a toddler game. My kids haven't played this by the rules yet, but they like playing with the pieces.
Oh, okay.
But this is probably for like, it says ages 5+, but I think I played it with like a 4-year-old before.
Okay.
But yeah, it introduces deduction. There's a board where so there's a fox who like stole the chicken pies or something.
Okay.
Stole a pie, and you're detective chicken, so you're player pieces. This is a cooperative deduction game, so you're the player pieces, and you're moving around on the board trying to get to different clue spaces. And the way the deduction works is kind of cool. So there's all these suspect cards. So these are who the fox can be. You're trying to figure out who the fox is before the fox escapes. But then like these are the thief cards. So you put this into this decoder thing at the beginning of the game. Okay, I actually haven't done this with Mike's because we haven't played yet. But okay, so yeah, you put it in here like that, and then each clue, like, does the person have a top hat? You put it in here like this, and then open it up, and if it shows like here, there's dots there.
Yeah.
So like if they did have a top hat, it would show green, but otherwise it doesn't show. So we know they don't have a top hat. So
that's spiffy.
Like you can use so you go around, figure out clues. The way you move is with these dice, or so you either move or do clues, I think. So but you're like rolling dice, and you get re-rolls, and you're trying to say, okay, I either want to do clues or move, and then you try to roll that first. So the re-rolls, you're trying to like re-roll the dice that you didn't get.
Okay.
But yeah, like you get all this information, and you can eliminate suspects. The suspects also only come out a couple at a time. Like you can look for more suspects or get clues, I think.
Oh, okay.
I forget. I haven't played in a while.
Oh, that's
okay. So you have the ones that are face up, and then like the kids can turn them or like put them aside if they know it's not that person, because like, oh, the person didn't have an umbrella, so it's not this one.
Okay.
And then they have to remember, there's some memory, because like as another suspect comes up later that has an umbrella, we're like, okay, wait, I remember they didn't have an umbrella.
That's
but
really
it's cooperative.
Cool.
So
it
that
is cooperative.
Helps. Yeah, it's cooperative. So everyone's
interesting.
trying to catch the fox.
Okay.
And I think that's good for younger kids just learning deduction too. Like for a first deduction is like having it cooperative, so you can help out.
So there isn't that pressure.
The deduction. Yeah.
Cool.
And there's no reading required because it's all just the colors. It does have the names. So like when you finally look at it, it has the name here and then the name here.
And then you can match it to that.
Match.
Okay.
But otherwise, there's no reading required.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That looks really cute. All right, neat. Okay, so my next game I actually don't have here because it's my cousin's. And we borrowed it for several months, and that's how it got on this list. And it's called Blue Lagoon. There's this like island, and you're putting out huts. I haven't played it in a long time, but you're putting out huts, and you're also getting resources where you claim land. It's very simple because you're just expanding like your territory. And when you first play, you play in 2 rounds from what I remember. And the first time you can go into the land from any place where water is. you can only advance from like a spot where you already are. So if that makes sense. So you start in the water and you can eventually make your way further and further inland. And then once all your pieces are out, there's a scoring phase. And what you're scoring for is area control. So if you have a specific land or a specific territory where you have the most, you'll get points. You're getting scoring for different combinations and sets of resources. And there's also routes. So kids are being introduced to all of these different like gaming ideas in this game. And it's so like simple. They're almost completing different goals and not fully aware of it. Like you can tell them in the beginning, like, okay, you get points for having 5 coconut or 5 of each resource or whatever it is. But they might not remember that, but they'll still get those points by taking their turn and whatever happens, whatever they gather. And then once that phase is over, there's a second phase where you take all the pieces off except like the huts, I think. And then from your huts that you placed the first round, you can claim resources again and go back out to the water. And then you do a second scoring phase. And whoever has the most points wins at the end. And the fact that it's in 2 phases also makes it really great for kids because you can stop after the first phase. If you're like, oh, this is a little long, or this is maybe more than we want to do, you can stop right midpoint and it still feels like a great game. So it's a really good family game, but it's really conducive to younger kids too. Cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played that one.
It's really good.
I remember seeing the cover. Everyone comparing the cover to Moana.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's part of the reason my 7-year-old was really into it at the time because he was all about Moana and yeah, he loved that movie. And so
my number 4 is another fun toy one that was put away sideways, but this is building site. This is supposed to be there's a dump truck there that's supposed to be put away differently. But anyways, the game, you're building a house, so the dump truck is the fun toy thing. This is like a toy.
That's great.
I think they built this game like because of the dump truck, because this is a toy in their other toys. But it's also a memory game, so my kids don't like follow the rules of memory very well. So we have to like actually do a lot of work to have them play by the rules. Okay. But there's these cones that are face down, and you're trying to flip them over and match what's on this board. So this is also a puzzle, which is fun to put together.
Cute. Yeah.
Where you're going like in order. You want to find the gray ones, and then the orange ones, and then the red ones, and the green ones. And this is also cooperative. So like first you're looking for the gray one, so you find a gray one, and then you use the dump truck to put it over and match it onto the piece. And then after you get both gray ones, then you can get this gray piece, and it's like the foundation of a house.
Oh, how clever.
Okay, each piece goes on its own board. So like it's fun just setting up. My kid likes setting it up and just matching everything. So he just puts all of the pieces on and then builds the house. So like the house gets built like this. So cute. And there's a little bush by it. So yeah, just another fun toy game, but then also like memory and matching for if they do play by the rules.
Very cool. Yeah.
And yeah, like
such a great theme too.
This is not really necessary, but it's fun to play with.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, okay. My next game is Mancala. I don't know if you ever played this.
Yeah, I did as a kid.
Yeah, it's that stone game. That everyone has sitting on their table, but never plays. But we actually started playing it. This is another Goodwill find I was really excited about. The rules are so simple. I always thought this was more complicated than it was. I kind of remember as a kid someone beating me all the time at this, so I kind of just gave up. But the rules are really simple. You start with like 4 stones in each of these holes, and the end ones are empty. And like this would be one person's end. This one's the other player's end. It's 2-player. And what you can do in your turn is you can take stones from one cup and you advance them forward. If you're going towards your end, then you add a stone in here and keep going. If you're going around this way, like if I take this these stones here, I advance this way, I skip my opponent and keep going. Whoops. The other rule is if you take stones and the last one you put goes in yours, you get to a second turn, which is always really fun. And the other rule is if you, take a bunch of stones and you go all the way around. Whoops, I'm going to pretend like this one got here. If you end in a cup that's empty, you get all the stones from this side and that side to go in yours. So that's how you get like big, what do we call it? Like cash-ins or So I really like this because it's like you can find these at yard sales and at Goodwill and stuff. Very simple rules, and it's an abstract strategy game, so you can really try to outthink your opponent and come up with neat strategies all on your own, working with this very like minimalistic game. So, and it's also like so satisfying. I just love the stones and the sounds, and so my 5-year-old is a big fan of this. We'll play this like 3 times in a row, and he's up for playing this anytime. And I like that this one is very compact, so that's why it made the list so high.
Cool.
So yeah,
and probably maybe even for younger kids, like good for counting and stuff.
Yeah, it actually is, because you have to make your strategy, you have to figure out like, all right, there's 5 stones in here, so it'll end on this one. So it does force you to count and plan ahead. Yeah, I feel like when I played it with my friend when I was a kid, she was like, "You're not allowed to count them." And I feel like that's I think that was her rule.
Yeah, that sounds like a house rule.
I let Lawrence count them.
Yeah, my number 3 is Hungry as a Bear, which is one of my kids' favorite games, both of them. So this game, you are feeding a bear. It's another one where the box becomes the
part of the game.
Like the Noah's Ark one.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So there's the bear here.
So cute.
And so you put this hat on him, and then here it goes like this.
Oh yeah.
So there's the bear, and you roll a die to get the different food, and then you match the food, and like, okay, I rolled a spinach and I get a spinach, and then this is also cooperative. there's a plate which you just have the food on, and then a spoon. So you like try to feed the bear with the spoon like that. Which is really easy for me, but harder for a 2-year-old.
Is that like dexterity, I guess?
Dexterity.
Yeah.
And then like the theme of eating, like my kids know all of the food and they like this food. Like one of my kids, I think his favorite is the blueberries.
Oh yeah.
And then, but they like all this other food, and so they like seeing the food and knowing the food and then trying to feed it. At first, when they were really little, they just use their hands. But now they do the spoon. And they can actually play this like by the rules completely. Sometimes they just play it by themselves. The kids can set it up themselves. They don't always put the hat in because that part's hard, but they like put it here, and then I see them rolling the die and putting the food in there. I'm like, oh, yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah, they really like feeding the bear. The theme and like just putting the food in the mouth.
Okay. So good. Oh, I think Hobbit does such a great job designing for kids. Like that. My kids get games out sometimes and just start playing too. Sometimes I'm like, that's a hard thing to achieve. Like they really know what they're doing when it comes to like working with kids.
I think they play test with like preschools and stuff, right?
That they do
have like. They play test with preschools.
Oh well, that's really smart. That makes sense. So, okay, cool. I love it. So, my number 3 is a new game, kind of like a new fun game that we've been playing a lot, and that's Core Quest. And I have to say, this is one that, like, I'm not always in the mood to play because it usually takes us, like, 2 hours or so to get through it. Just because it's a lot of, like, okay, Lawrence, it's your turn. Now you get to do this, and you get to do this, and this. And the thing about this is it's an adventure game, it's cooperative, and what you do is for each story, each quest, you get 4 characters. And when it's your turn, you get to do the actions for each character, and they each have 2. And there's free actions, and then there's their like official 2 actions that they get to take on their turn. My oldest one asked to play this the most. So what happens is to play the game, there's a deck of cards, and you stack them in a specific way so that when you flip them out, you can add to the dungeon that's already out with these cards. And sometimes the dungeon card will have, maybe I can show it if it's... The other crazy thing, there's a lot in this little box. I was very impressed. They do a really good job with filling it with a lot of content. So this is the first dungeon card, and it says welcome. This is the welcome mat. This game is very cheeky and hilarious. There's a lot of hilarious plot lines. So like if this was the first dungeon card, then you could add, you know, this to it, and then your adventurers can go down this way, and they you might flip over this card next, and then you can put a treasure in here, and they can go find the treasure. And then there's these story cards that's what you're stacking in. And so at different times as you're playing, a story card will come up and you'll read a passage from the book, and usually have to make some decision, or some bad guy will come out. I'm just always amazed at the surprises they have in. And it's just been a lot of fun. Most games we end up like yelling. We've won 2 of them, and it was very close. We thought we were going to lose. And then the last one we actually did lose. We were like so upset, but it's so much fun. So that's Core Quest. They really did an excellent job with making a dungeon crawl very accessible to kids. It's very like slow down, let's take time and have an adventure together type of feeling. And there's lots of dice rolling, like there's combat, and you have to fight these little, here, I'll get some standees out so you can see, but there's ogres, or not ogres, that's an orc, and rat folk. These are the baddies you have to fight, the good guys. So you can pick, we always can call him Axeman. I'm not sure if that's his real name. We kind of changed it, and this is the cat lady. It's just great. So kid-oriented, so much fun. So we've been having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, we have this game, but my kids aren't old enough yet for it. But they like it. They like playing it because they like the dice. So I let them play with the dice.
Yeah, hang on.
Like, because I don't let them play with the other stuff because it's kind of like the cards are... I don't want them to bend all the cards or anything. But I let them play with the dice, and so
these are the best dice.
They like it,
so
and they know the
chunky.
Game. Yeah,
and these are great, and it really does capture like that. I mean, it's a dungeon crawl. It's kind of like D&D. We're big D&D players, and we understand like the dice. Yeah. It's all part of luck. But when it comes to storytelling and wanting to have surprises and wanting there to be a lot of suspense, I think dice are great for creating that. So I have a lot of fun to look forward to with that one.
Yeah, I'm excited. My number 2 is actually both of my kids' favorite game currently. I asked them this morning what your favorite game is, and they both said Tidy Up.
Aww.
So this is another game that involves putting things into slots, and the box is also the game.
Okay.
But in this game, so the box is this bookshelf. Yeah. It has different sections. There's like the block section, the car section, and the stuffed animal section. And there's these little tiles that have different toys on them. So you're going to be going around. These are going to all be on the table, and then you just move the cat to the one that you want to pick up, and then you organize it. So like this one will go in here, and then the next person goes. This is another like activity cooperative game.
Yeah.
This one goes in here, and so my kids really liked those games like with the shapes where you put them into the bucket.
Yeah.
When they were like 9 months old or whatever. So they like putting things into slots, and they would put things into slots that they weren't supposed to, like get things lost all the time. But anyways, but now they like just doing this, and they can separate them out now, and
that's great.
And they really just like taking them out and like putting them away. And then when you're done with the game, it's just put away.
That's perfect.
So you just put it away, and then you put the box cover on, and it's done.
Aww.
So
I really like that.
yeah, that's tidy
I like
up.
the self-cleaning aspect to it.
Yeah. But yeah, so they both love this game.
All right. Well, I did the same thing where like my number 2 is the favorite right now. We're just playing it. We played it so much in the last 2 weeks, and it's chai. This it's a tea game I had gotten for us to play like with my family and stuff, and my in-laws liked it so much at the time when I had first gotten it that I let them borrow it, and we just got it back now. And my kids are just loving it. It's the perfect like stage for them, and I think they like it too because it's like a big board game, a big box game. And what you're doing in this is you are running a little tea shop, and each tea shop is a different tea flavor. So one person will have the red tea or the rooibos tea. Someone else gets all the white tea and green tea and blue tea. And then what you're trying to do is complete customer cards. And on a customer card, you're going to have the tea that they want, which is blue tea. So you're going to have to put that. We have the little tea cups. So you would put a blue tea leaf in here, and then you need mint flavors. So you'd need 3 mint flavors. The way that you get them is by going to the market where you can buy all the different flavors. And if you buy the flavors down here, there are 3 coins. These are the 2-cent coins and then the 1-cent coin. And as you buy the flavors, like if I buy, I don't want to fill this whole thing up, I just want to show it. So if I buy like this flavor for, I don't know why I would do that. If I buy this lemon flavor for 2 cents, this slides down, and now I can buy this violet for like 2 cents. So every time you buy it, they all slide down so you can get like a better deal. And if there's like 2 of the same, either horizontally or vertically, you get whatever's in a row. So you can spend 1 coin and you would get both of those. Another action is to go to the pantry where you get pantry items like your honey and your milk and your spices, which you also will want for different customers that require those things. Like this girl wants chai spice, vanilla spice, and 1 lavender in her blue tea, in her oolong tea. So to get those other spices, you have to go to this pantry, and you have to spend 1 coin to get 3 of them. And they're random, so sometimes you don't have what you want, so you might have to spend a 2nd coin to swipe it, fill it up with something new that you might want, and then you draw from there. What I found is it's just a really good introduction to them to this idea of going to a market and buying things and saving your money that you get from the marketplace to use it for the pantry next turn, like that planning ahead and resource management. Such a fun introduction. It's so colorful and bright and tactile, and so they love this. They want to play this every single day, and I actually really like it too. My husband doesn't play it with me, so I'm like, yeah, let's play try.
That's awesome.
So this is a really fun family game and good for kids too. I'm sorry that was really long.
It's okay.
So
number 1?
Yeah, number 1.
All right, so my number 1, actually, when I asked my kids what their favorite is, one of them said Tidy Up, and then also this one.
Oh, okay.
but this is Go Away Monster, which is actually the first game that my toddlers played by the rules, and I've played it with a lot of other kids too. It's like a lot of my friends' kids and my nephews, like a lot of other kids' first games, because so this game, it involves bedroom. It's you can play cooperative or competitively, but everyone has this bedroom board. They're different colors.
Okay.
So you get to pick which one you want, and then there's a bag of tiles in there. And so on your turn, you're feeling around in the bag. There's no dice rolling, which is actually why my kids were able to play it first, because like they didn't understand like the whole rolling dice to take a turn before, but they understand like pulling things out of a bag.
Oh, okay.
So you reach in here and you're trying to get the shapes to fill in your board.
Oh yeah.
And so like as kids get older and realize like, oh, I can feel for the shape, right? So like they're trying to find the bed shape. But then there's some there's 4 shapes: a bed, lamp, teddy bear, and the picture frame. But then there's also like monsters. So this one is shaped kind of like the lamp, so that's a sneaky monster. Here's the lamp and here's the monster.
Oh my goodness.
But if you get a monster on your turn, then you say, "Go away, monster," and you like throw it back in the box, or like
that's
put
great.
it somewhere. Like, sometimes my kids like putting it on the bed. They're like, "Monster's taking a nap." But yeah, so yeah, that's a lot of fun. And like the theme is good because it's like you if you're scared of monsters, then you like say go away to the monster, I guess. And my kids like monsters though, so yeah. And then the picture frames all have different, in this version, there's different versions, but this version, the picture frames, which I think is the currently printed version, the picture frames have different letters on them too. There's A, B, C, and D with
that's cute.
With the different things. So yeah, like my kids like they were matching the shapes to these pretty early, and then like so they take turns and pull out the pieces and put them on. And sometimes we would play the cooperative mode, so sometimes they like giving the piece to the other player, like, oh, you need a bed, or like, I'll give it for you. And so that's nice, they're sharing.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I love that. I feel like when I was first trying to introduce my kids to games, a lot of it was just teaching the turn taking and like figuring out, are they mature enough to appreciate what we're trying to do? Yeah. But I love that like that it's not so much like, oh, now it's your turn and now it's your brother's turn, but that you're like, here, pick something out of this bag and you get to do something, and it's like the other child automatically sees, oh, they're doing that now, so they can watch and wait. So that's really smart for like child's designing for children. Okay, so my number 1 is this is one that my husband still likes to play with all of us. So that's why we put it at the top, because we all really like it. And that's Karuba. And it's a great, great family game. And I would say, like, even though the kids really are all about chai right now, this is one that we've been playing for about 2 years now, just consistently. It's been a hit. And it is a competitive game. And everyone gets one of these like player boards. So for each character here, there's a color meeple that matches it. So this is the blue guy, and then there's a blue temple that meeple is gonna go to. So the character is gonna start on the beach. So maybe we'll have him start here at 70. I put that there. That means that everyone else playing the game is also gonna put their blue meeple on 70. So we're all starting our player pieces on the same spots, and then I'll say, all right, the temple's going to be at 50 up here in the forest. You can see like there's numbers up there. You basically want everyone to be starting at the same point, and then as the game plays, you're going to be flipping over all these tiles. This is the whole puzzle right here, these little tiles, and these tiles have paths on them. Some paths go straight across, and some paths have like a little elbow shape, or dog leg, I think it's called, or something. There's crisscross paths, and it's bingo style. So one person will have all their tiles upside down, and they'll flip one over randomly, and they'll say, all right, 26, and then everyone else will have their tiles face up, ready to play, and they'll go to the 26 tile, and that's what everyone's going to be playing on their board simultaneously. So I might put 26 like right there. Someone else might put theirs here, depending on what sort of path they want to try to make. The first person to get like their, like the example before, if you get your blue meeple to the temple first, you get a like a 10-point treasure, or a 5-point, not 10-point, 5-point treasure. And then the second person to get their blue meeple will get like a 4-point treasure. And so each color adventurer has their own set of treasures, and everyone's just kind of racing to get to their temples first. And the only way that you can do that is by making those paths. And then if you have a tile that you don't want to place, it doesn't work for your path that you made on your board, you can discard it and get movement. And you get 1 movement for each end of the tile. So this would allow my meeple to go 2 spaces because there's 2 ends to this. So I discard that. So then this little guy could go 1, 2 and move closer to the temple. So that's how it works. We love it. It's really, really fun. And I thought that my kids would be too young for it when we originally got it. And pretty soon they were playing right there with us and like teaching the grandparents how to play. So, well, thank you so much for joining me today and doing this video with me. It was so much fun.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, that was fun.
And
and it's nice like seeing the top kids games that you had too, because that's like in my future.
They're there. Yeah, I bet they'll be playing them really sooner than you think. So, all right, well, very cool. Thanks again, and I'm really excited about your book coming out. So, that's so neat that you came up with this creative idea, and it's really well illustrated. Like, I love the illustrator you found for it. So, I think
really
it's gonna be a hit. I hope I see it in like board game shops. I feel like that would be such a great thing for shops to carry. All right. Well, thanks again, Ambie, and thanks everybody for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this, and like if you have a growing family, there's a lot of great games out there, or if you just have grandkids or nieces and nephews, you want to introduce them to gaming. I hope that you enjoy some of these games as much as we have. All right. Bye, everyone. We'll see you in the next one. Okay. I think everything's running now. Do they want their games back?
I think you saw all the games. Okay. Can you close the door? Okay.